Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode we will summarize what we've read and discuss the experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 40!
Chapter 40!
Chapter 40, Eyes of Red and Blue. Kaladin stumbles out of the barrack, sore but recovering, and with a surprisingly clear head. He sees the rest of the bridge crew running drills. When Moash notices him, the group crashes into each other. They all run over. Kaladin remembers the high storm and the face he saw, but brushes it off as a delusion. The crew tells him he'd been out of it for 10 days. This doesn't make sense to Kaladin because he feels his wounds have healed beyond that short of a time. 2 of the bridge men died while he was out. Now that Kaladin survived the high storm, he worries that his near-prophetic words to the crew before the storm would cause concern if the Ardents hear about it. It comes dangerously close to prophecy. The bridge crew is on duty and called. They don't let Kaladin on the run while he's in recovery. Rock was nearly named bridge leader, but he and the crew started calling Kaladin captain, with Rock taking the title squad leader. Kaladin brings water along on the bridge run for the rest of the runners. The battle was easy for the bridge crew, but long and drawn out for the soldiers. Kaladin watches it with Rock and Sigzil. He wonders why the Parshendi fight. Sigzil thinks they fight because they have soulcasters and need the gem hearts to make food. Kaladin reveals that bridgemen are supposed to die. The crew sits at night, waiting for Rock's stew. Kaladin laments the futility of the bridge crew's plight. He feels the wretch coming back. He feels he is going to fail the bridge crew. Maps makes a speech. He presents Rock with a gift, a straight razor. Rock runs into the barrack. Kaladin sits with Sigzil discussing their education. Sigzil seems a man of learning. Sigzil comments on Kaladin's leadership qualities. Sigzil reveals he once tried to kill a man. Kaladin wonders how he can use Sigzil's intelligence to find a way out of their predicament. Sigzil tells a story of how criminals in a foreign land are given a choice: execution, or to become bait with a nigh impossible chance of survival. The criminals almost always take the chance of survival. They prefer false hope. Sigzil believes what Kaladin is doing is giving the bridge crew false hope. At first he hated it, but now he calls Kaladin a healer. Kaladin Stormblast. Rock emerges from the barrack, shaved. Kaladin watches the crew, struggling not to become the wretch once more. Death upon the lips, sound upon the air, char upon the skin. From The Last Desolation by Ambrian, line 335.
We don't have any commentary around it. It's just here's the line. We don't have like Yasna's thoughts about it or anything, which is upsetting me.
Quite. But you know what I got from this is most important words a man can say. Oath gates, all of these things about speaking. And we've got death upon the lips. That could be like power word kill, which is a cleric spell in D&D. Sound upon the air, well, that is words. And then char upon the skin strikes me as a response to like being power word killed.
Yes, like it's like a spell, and then you land up. It's so death upon the lips, sounds upon the air. So you talk. I see what you're saying. It is like it reminds you of a spell being cast, and then you're blown to bits.
Yeah.
Char on the skin is such a it's not ash. Okay, I know char is also, you can say char, but char upon the skin is kind of like you're burnt. The skin itself is burnt.
Yep.
Although you could probably try and say, oh well, it's ash on the skin upon. But yeah, I don't know. Just me thinking of charred skin. No, not fun.
Not at all.
And so the last desolation makes me think of, okay, well, there's many desolations. As much as this is supposedly the last one, we've since the beginning of this book really thought, okay, another desolation is coming. We haven't had the last one. Well, you could have the last desolation as like the last week kind of thing, you know, the last one we had, not the last, the final.
Hmm.
desolation, you know what I'm saying? It's just the last one we had. That's what it could turn out to be.
The one most recent to this point in time
Yes.
that we're following.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't think that's the vibe it's going for, but yeah.
I had a theory this week for a brief moment, and then I wiped it away fairly quickly. The Soulcaster isn't broken, it's a Devar issue, meaning the Shalon and her family can't cast it, but maybe Yasna won't have any issue using the quote unquote broken Soulcaster. But then I remembered that the chassis broke and they had that repaired, so maybe it genuinely is broken. Do you have a thought?
I did also have that theory. I did wonder if it was just, she that's why we haven't had any reveal
Hmm.
of it, that maybe it is working somehow. I didn't have the answer. So the the fact that you said it was something about her family, I didn't put that together, but I was like, maybe it's just it you know what, it was in a really, really intense cool down period and now it works. I guess I just want it to work. That's I guess it would solve a lot of problems for both Yasna and Shalon.
Yeah,
But obviously we don't get any of that this
this chapter.
chapter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Kaladin wakes up, I think, meaningfully for the first time,
Mm.
well enough to go out into the yard. And he walks out and he sees the crew practicing, and then Moash notices him, and then they all sort of trip over each other. And that's the first of several moments in this chapter that are very lighthearted.
Yeah, there's the thing of him, the way he's like, guys, you men, you got to sort that that out because we'll fall in battle or whatever. He's Kaladin being Kaladin again, and it's a great line. Instead of him saying hello, he comes in and does a little commanding. No, guys, we got to get that under control, that tripping under control. I thought that was quite cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is this weird thing the way they are looking at him. They're looking at him
With
with
awe and
reverence.
joy and reverence.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Reverence.
Hmm. And that's a bit. I don't know. I don't think. What do you think Kaladin feels about this? Is he just noticing it? There's not. I don't really get any idea. I can't tell you exactly how I think he feels about it. He's just noticing it. Maybe he's a little bit uncomfortable.
He might be. I mean, he survived the impossible, and he remembers more or less what his last words were before the storm. So,
Mm.
I mean, he's known what he's been doing all along, trying to get everyone to feel like a family, so to speak, at a minimum, trying
Mm.
to get everyone to open up and feel things again. So, he shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I should be quite pleased that it's carried on. It's gone beyond. He can actually rely on it now. He can
Hmm.
rely on it. He created it when they didn't have anything, and now he can actually rely on it. Right now, it's making him feel worse because he's feeling more guilt, really, or like he's going to fail them. But he could also draw on it.
Yeah, he fights this entire chapter not to give in to depression again, and it sounds like
Hmm.
another wave is going to be coming for him. Understandably
Hmm.
so, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is a big deal. This is not just a stumbling block. This is quite a huge thing. And actually, now that I'm thinking about how I think he feels, he himself is also confronting the fact that he survived. He should be dead.
Hmm.
And then he's also not even realizing, hello, he thinks was supposed to be out for what, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
And he even is incredulous about it when he's like he notices that the men don't correct the person who answers him. So he's like he's
it's
still,
10 days.
I suppose, dealing with that. Yeah, he's like, what? Because he's supposed to be dead, and that still hasn't really struck him consciously. That it's like, listen, you really should, like, it's not just, oh well, that was lucky. It's like, no, there's something here.
Yeah,
And he does remember the sudden surges of strength, and
but he still
he's
has
like,
no
oh.
meaningful idea of how he's
Mm.
healing or what he's doing with the spheres.
Yeah, yeah. At the closest he gets is maybe he should have listened to his mother's teachings about the Almighty or something like that, or like like miracles and stuff. That's actually the closest we get to him realizing anything. It's like, oh, I guess he's just blessed.
Yeah,
So he's storm blessed.
very much so. He writes off having seen that face in the storm as a delusion. He does wonder if it's the Storm Father, but he writes that off.
I think I would too. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, that was weird. Like, you're not gonna go, no, it absolutely is. You'd be like, I don't know. I've never been in the freaking out in the high storm clinging to a ring. So, it, yeah, he's smart enough to go, okay, well, that was weird. I can't really make many more conclusions other than, yeah, probably a delusion.
Yeah.
And what are you supposed to do with that anyway? Are you supposed to go, oh, well, I saw him. And then, like, what are you supposed to do about it?
Yeah. I don't know. You survived, so maybe start worshiping him or something. But I get the
Yeah.
sense that other folks might start worshiping Cal for surviving or something.
Yep. Yep.
Moash lets Kaladin know that they lost two bridgemen while he was unconscious. They didn't, and specifically, they didn't know how to heal them. And this plays
Mhm.
into something that occurs later in the chapter where Kaladin learns that Sigzil is a learned man. Now, he does think later on, how do I utilize his intelligence to find a way out of this death trap for us? But I do wonder if he's going to try to teach Sigzil medicine. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I did think of that. I thought, well, if anyone's going to be able to grasp this stuff, it's Sigil. So that's what I'm predicting. But what else could you use him for? I don't know. The point is, at least he is thinking of these things. He is trying to get himself to use what, like, even when he speaks to himself, he says, like, use what's in front of you and whatever. But it is difficult. He is still quite beaten down. He still is like, oh, it's hopeless. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. There's nothing for us here.
Yeah.
And he's just had a massive failure with the side carry thing. That's really that's a big blow to him.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't think he's. I like how long it's taking him to get past it.
Yeah. What'd you make of the Captain Kaladin and squad leader Rock stuff?
Yeah, they had to. Kaladin is not replaceable.
Nope.
It's what it means. He's not replaceable. He's not. He's a lot more than just the guy that runs in the front or the guy that says the orders or whatever. He's way more than that.
Yeah. You know stuff about Christianity, right?
Mhm.
Wasn't there a Roman that converted to Christianity fairly like early on when all that stuff was happening in addition to the disciples?
Um, I do know that I think that there's even disciples that were that were against Christ. I think
Well,
it was like, or like
obviously there were
they were,
Romans against
yeah.
Christ, but
No, no, I'm talking about like the Romans. I don't know. I'm okay, so I don't know as much as I purport to. I haven't gotten to that point. I'm in the New Testament still, so I won't be able to reliably tell you.
so I just Googled it, and I guess there was an
Mhm.
unnamed Roman centurion who
Mhm.
approached and expressed faith in Jesus's power to heal, which
Mhm.
just sounds in line with what I was thinking. And the reason I bring this up is because I was wondering if Gaz will become a believer.
Converted. Yeah. We do know that something is supposed to happen with gas. That's what we've been thinking the whole time. Not so much about the him being like the Roman that converts, but
Hmm.
the that he's going to have some sort of arc. We thought. I mean, at one stage we were like, is he going to be a bridgeman or something like that? So yeah, I'm waiting for this for something to happen
Right.
with
And
gas.
the reason I brought that up is because I'm going through the chapter as we go through the
Hmm.
chapter, and Gaz was angry over the captain squad leader stuff, which is what brought the idea to mind.
Mm.
But then,
Well, yeah, because he doesn't want. He's angry. Why do you think he's angry?
well, yeah, because it's undermining his authority. Whatever is up with Kaladin, it has spread. The disrespect has spread.
Yeah, it's not just it's not just Kaladin anymore. Everybody believes in Kaladin too. It's not just this
Mhm.
one dude.
Yeah. So then the bridge crew is called on a run, and they all refuse to let Kaladin go on it, which is smart, good. But he does
Hmm.
bring water, so it's good to see that that has persisted.
Yeah, but one of my favorite moments, or one of the key moments here, is that Kaladin, he actually thinks I'm not like other men. He actually thinks that when he's going to be, he thinks he's going to go and run with them, and he's like, yeah, well, I can do it because I'm not like other men. And he's like, oh, wait a second, actually, that's a bit of a stupid thing for me to do. And like, because Rock is also like, what? Sorry, if one of us was doing this, you would have told us not to. And he kind of tries to, in his mind, he's like, yeah, well, I'm exceptional. And he's like, actually, no, wait a second, that is pretty stupid to think. So it's interesting to have him confronted with his own specialness.
Mortality and
No,
special
his mortality,
station.
yes, but yeah, he is special. So a character having to understand, or not really, a character having to grapple with whether they're really extraordinary or just lucky is uh
Right.
is interesting, because yeah, he had to check himself before he wrecked himself.
Yeah. Don't get a big head, Kaladin.
Hmm.
Anyway, they go on the run, and it is a fortunately not terrible run for the bridge crew, but it's sort of a long, drawn out battle that's tough to watch. And Kaladin stands there with Rock and with Sigzil, and he opens up to them and says, so we're fodder. We are cannon fodder, meant to die.
We get more of an understanding of the dynamic of why it's just easier to throw untrained bodies
Hmm.
at this rather than you, so you keep your soldiers. That whole dynamic, I like that that was expanded upon.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily something you want to go blurting out to any and every bridge crew because I don't think that that would have good results. That many of them would give in to despair, or they would try and riot, or any number of things. But Rock
Mhm.
and, as we come to learn, Sigzil are level headed enough to take that information. And in that way, I think it's good that Kaladin is getting more heads in on the problem to try and hopefully problem solve at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
But while this is happening, Kaladin wonders why the Parshendi fight. And I would like to know, Sigzil thinks it's because they have soul casters and they need to make food. I don't think that's it. Otherwise, why kill Gavilar? And there's more to it than that, certainly.
Yeah, there's more to this mystery. I have no suggestions though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I see his suggestion is not good enough. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And Kaladin also observes, which I think Dalinar has observed in the past, but the Parshendi are less active than they used to be. The Alethi are winning the war. It's just taking a terribly long time.
Hmm. Yeah, they're declining in some way.
Yeah. Again, I have to wonder, are the Parshendi trying to usher in the Everstorm? Like, are they just stalling and trying to drain resources, or what?
Mm, I don't know.
Because I do think they're losing, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Why are Parshendi? Why?
Yeah. Then they head back to camp. It's a lovely evening of stew, which is great.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's very heartwarming. Maps gives a really nice speech, and everyone's in on it. They're all banging their bowls with their spoons. It's real camaraderie. And they give Rock a shaving kit, and
Hmm.
that was very cute, especially when he like runs in to shave and then runs out and he's all like, I'm gonna make you all family. I'm gonna show you my home and it's gonna be great. It was so sweet, really.
Yeah, really enjoy Rock. I've experienced this part through the audiobook. So I enjoy the way he voices Rock as well. So I enjoyed
Nice.
it a lot. Yeah, he's very strange. That really is a significant gift
Hmm.
in his culture, clearly.
Yeah.
So he's very emotional about it. And this is all like in contrast with Kaladin. Kaladin's watching all of this and
Fighting the
he's
depression.
not feeling it. Yeah. And that's really what it is like. You can have so much warmth around you, but it's really tough to just keep that at bay.
Hmm.
Other people's warmth, other people's happiness can just put more pressure on you.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
really, really tough. So then Kaladin and Sigzil sit next to each other, and Sigzil is of a different race that Kaladin is not too used to interacting with. So there are some translation issues, so to speak. He speaks in a very intelligent manner, and he makes one comment. Among my people, it is not a sin for a male to be keen of mind. To which Kaladin responds, it isn't a sin for a Lethe either. My experience is that you care only about wars and the art of killing. And that again gets me into the gender politics of the Alethi
Mhm.
and the reading versus the not reading, and how divided, and then the notes that the women write to each other in their books. It's this had me wondering if there is the Grand Women Conspiracy, which is a play on the
Mhm.
Grand Maester Conspiracy, that there's a woman somewhere in this world pulling strings in dark ways. What do you think?
I wouldn't put it past Sanderson to do that.
Yeah.
I know he was able to work with that in Wheel of Time very well, understand it how it works in Wheel of Time. So yeah.
And Sigzil comments that his education was not complete, and he calls Kaladin a light eyes.
Yes, I was hoping you would mention that.
Yeah, which Kaladin is, of course, deeply offended by. As with Rock explaining when how he became part of the bridge crew, other countries in this world have different forms of hierarchy and leadership.
Mhm.
The Alethi seem to blend the Light Eyes with the leadership, and that's so foreign to other countries that they associate the word Light Eyes with leader.
Yeah, with noble. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
noble supposed to mean, really. That this is a person that's leading us. So yeah, I liked that confusion. I liked that. Hold on, yeah, don't call me a light eyes, and look at the color of my eyes. Hello, it's like it's not actually about that. Maybe it's about the content of your character. Whoa. So
Yes.
yeah.
I just had a thought, terrible thought.
Mm-mm.
If Kaladin is Jesus, who's gonna betray him in the bridge crew?
Hmm. Moash. I don't know.
I hope not. Anyway, moving on from that thought.
Somebody will. Somebody will. I agree. This story is long enough.
Yeah. Anyway, after that light eyes kerfuffle,
Mhm.
Kaladin thinks he's a man of learning. I have to use this to find a way out of this death trap, something to that effect. And Sigzil has taken the comment about Bridgman being sent to die to heart, and he tells this story about Marabithia, which is this place where it's like on the shore or something to that effect, and criminals who are essentially sentenced to death can choose to die or can choose to be hung as bait for sharks. And
And if they survive a certain amount of time, they can make it out. There's
right,
some sort of hope. And yeah, and Kaladin asks how often that happens. And it's like, it doesn't. But they still choose it.
right,
Mm.
because it's a small amount of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Sigzil tells this story to express that he thinks Kaladin is a healer. He resented him at first, but what he's doing is giving hope to people on their deathbed and joy and family in their final days, and that's a good thing.
Mm. Which Kaladin is not really accepting at this point. He's not really receptive to that. So he's like, he hears it, but he's just feeling like he's failed then.
Mm-hmm.
That is why the chapter is called like Red, what? Red Eyes.
Eyes of red and
Eyes of Red.
blue. And yeah, it's the idea is when the criminal is hanging, they're beaten bloody for some reason. So that's the blood on their face. And
Mm.
then the blue is their eyes to the ocean, I think. Something like that.
Yeah. So like you're supposed to take from Sigzel's comments or Sigzel explaining that you are giving, like you said, you're giving these men a sliver of hope at the end of their lives, which is better than nothing.
Yeah.
They will choose it. They will choose that anyway. They would choose it. So you're not lying to them essentially. And that made me think of, because he said that there's some sort of possibility that if you survive a certain amount of time, you'll be set free or something. And that's the same sort of thing where it's like, oh, if you survive this many bridge runs, you'll be set free kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's just as hopeless, but people continue to choose it.
Yeah.
So we got to do something with that. But Kaladin is just, he's just wobbly at the moment.
Yeah. So, and then Rock comes out and he's overjoyed and he's happy and they all eat and have a wonderful night. What's your take on Sigzel, ultimately?
I'm okay. I'm very, very. I'm being told very much that he is intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
So I've taken that to heart. He's not very warm yet, and he's got that mysterious past where he tried to kill a man, and he had a master. So I'm reserved. He's interesting.
Fair. Everyone here has a dark past, and I can't imagine that they're all going to be criminals with hearts of gold. Some of these guys, their pasts might be a bit too shady even for Kaladin, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when a sociopath joins the group or something.
Exactly. How do they deal with that person then? Because they need to. Oh, I guess we'll put them in the front. And we also we didn't have much from our Invisiger friend
Yeah.
this time around. He kind of stood off from Kaladin. Teft.
Yeah.
So Teft has been helping, and it seems like he's actually healed even faster than Teft was trying. Teft was trying to slow it down and make it not look so miraculous, but it looks miraculous still. 10 days.
Yeah.
Because he was just supposed to die. So I guess you can't avoid that.
Yep.
Teft stays away from him because it's like, oh no, he makes an excuse. He's like, yeah, they all smell. I don't need to come for a hug.
Yeah.
And so we don't. I'm still waiting for them to talk about. Hello, just by the way, you're magic. You're a wizard, Kaladin. Like we need to have that.
Yep. Good chapter. Anything else to say about it?
Like the video.
If you like. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kitte if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.